Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. Thanks for joining us. I'm really happy to see so many of you here with us today because we have a great webinar in store. We are going to be talking to one of our nonprofit customers, Malaria No More UK. So my name is Kelly Miller, and I'm the Customer Relationship Manager at Canto. And like I said today, we are joined by a customer, Mike Hamilton, who is the Digital Marketing Manager for Malaria No More UK. Hi, Mike. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Kelly. Nice to be here.
Great, thanks so much. Yeah, so what you guys can expect in this webinar is first just a basic overview of Canto from me. And then Mike will share his screen and show us how they work in their Canto library. And towards the end, I'll be asking Mike some of your questions. So if you have a question for him at any point, please just type it in the questions tab that you see on your screen, and I'll be asking him those at the end. And this is also being recorded, and the recording will be sent to your email after the webinar is over. So a quick overview of Canto. Canto is a digital asset management system that gives teams a place to store all of their digital content. And Canto isn't just for file storage, but it's a really powerful tool to search and to share brand assets like photos and videos. It has an intuitive interface that really anyone can use. And whether you use it internally, externally, or both, you can be sure that your users will navigate through Canto with no issues at all. And we want to take away the stress and frustration that can come with managing your digital assets so that you can be focused on your most important work. So with that, I will hand the screen here over to Mike and he can start sharing his.
You see?
Yes, that is perfect. Great. So Mike, starting off here with the questions, can you quickly just tell us what Malaria No More UK does and about your role there?
Yeah, so Malaria No More UK, we've existed for about 10 years and we are a low ego charity that seeks to, obviously, as its name says, end malaria. But we are basically a low ego organization that creates different brands for different audiences that to help with the malaria fight. So we have here, you can see Malaria Must Die, and that is aimed at a UK audience with David Beckham, but we also have Zero Malaria, which works with organizations like the UN and the World Health Organization for more of an Africa audience. So we kind of support the malaria community with communications and advocacy.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you. And what is your role there?
I'm the digital marketing manager. So we're a three-person digital team, and I help create the websites, the social assets, and yeah, and also manage the Canto dam as well.
Perfect. Yeah, so with Canto, how are you managing digital assets before you started using Canto?
Um, so I joined Monero No More about a year ago, and at that time there was no digital asset management system at all. The assets were really scattered across on the internal server image library, which you could only access if you were in the office.
Mm.
Some things were on Google Drive, but we weren't even officially supposed to be using Google Drive. So one of the tasks when I started was to consolidate all of those assets so they were easily accessible for the whole team, quickly accessible through a search function, and yeah, just better organized basically. Remote, we could access remotely as well.
Perfect. Yeah. So here in your library, can you show us how you have your assets organized?
So when I started using Canto, one of the priorities that was set to me was that they should be organized in a similar way to how we organize our other files and documents. So that's based on work streams. So we have like a UK work stream, and then we have a global Africa work stream. So as you can see here under the UK, we have like the Malaria Must Die campaigns, and fundraising, because we do our fundraising in the UK. But under global, we have the individual countries and and then Zero Malaria, which is our global campaign. So that's basically the simple way I structure the assets, and then beneath these folders are the albums for the various different campaigns that we do. Yeah, I try not to make the folder structure too deep, for it might be a bit too confusing. The main way I want people to access the assets when someone on the team comes to the site is to use the search function. So I try and make sure that all the assets are tagged as detailed as possible, basically. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And what assets do you have stored in Canto? We see some videos here, it looks like, but what other assets are stored?
So we have if say we have a trip abroad, we have all the images from that trip, and to make sure that the ones that are approved are accessible. Like social media assets, so they're videos. But we also do, like, for a campaign that we launched last week, we put the press release up there, so that PDF version, so that we can easily share it externally. Basically, any asset that you can think of that you might want to, or any document that you might want to share externally, I find Canto is like the go-to place for our team now, to put it on and share, because
Okay.
it's really easy to set the limits of when that asset expires, or setting passwords to those assets. So yeah, it's
Okay,
really secure.
perfect. Yeah, thank you. And you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but how do you usually search for content?
Oh yeah, sorry, I jumped the gun. So, so if it's not the latest thing, because the latest thing just pops up when you open Canto, or if I want to, I know it's a video and I know it's been uploaded in the last week, I might just click on the smart album folders at the top, I think they're called, and then you can just go images, presentation, videos. But yeah, if I know it's not that recent, I'll just search. Oh, I need that image with a bed net in. And so if I search bed net, hopefully, yeah, there are some bed nets that appear. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, great. Yeah, so within those images, I mean, how do you have them tagged or keyworded, or do you use custom fields or anything like that?
Yeah, we use so if I open this image, so yeah, this probably isn't that well tagged. But yes, we have keywords. They're basically based on the folder structure that I showed earlier,
Mhm.
and then the tags are based on exactly what's in the image. So yeah, this photo was taken in Downing Street. It's got bednet, but I think the fact that it came up when I searched bednet is not because I've been really good at tagging. It might be in the meta description here. But yeah, trying to be as detailed as possible when you're uploading photos is really, really key. Basically, doing the hard work at the beginning when you're uploading it. And what
Mhm.
I found working with the team is that it's better to have one or two people that are uploading the assets, because so that they're put in the right folder structures and tagged consistently, because yeah, so they can be easily found.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. So, who is using Canto internally?
So the whole of the comms team, so that's the three digital people, and then there's like PR side. They are super users. I don't know if it's that terminology, but they have access to upload content and add tags and so on. And then the rest of the office, they are designated as consumers. So they'll only, when they go into Canto, they'll only see approved assets. So ones that are freely available to download and use in a deck or any kind of documentation. So yeah, it's really easy for them, for the rest of the office, basically, because before then, people just come to me and go, oh, can I have the logo, on multiple occasions, whereas now they can just come in and search logo and they'll be able to find the asset. Yeah.
Nice, thank you. And then Who is using Canto externally, and how are they accessing the assets?
Yeah, so for external users, we have a variety of portals, and they've really come in super handy. So we have portals like we create assets for the UN. So we have a portal that pulls in assets from specific albums on Canto, and is auto synced. So whenever a new asset is uploaded to that album, then our team at the UN can use it on their digital channels. And then for our campaign that we launched last week with David Beckham, we had various portals that were for the press, and there were different embargoes on different pieces of content. We could auto approve those like set auto embargo times on all of those assets. So it was really handy. I didn't have to be on guard at like 5 a.m. like approving a photo. Like I could set it up automatically. So it was really cool. Really
Great.
helpful.
Yeah. And are those public? Would you be able to show those or one?
Yeah. So what is this one? I just clicked a random one. Oh, it's probably not the best one. This is like just one portal that had one image. Let's do this one. So this is the one we use with the UN. And as you can see here, like they only engage with us on a particular campaign. So I've managed to change the logo for this portal. I think you can brand it up a little bit more as well if you want. And so they can just access all of the stuff, and it's all searchable as well. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. And then going back to like the main library too, what does a typical workflow look like for you and your team? Like who is uploading these and who downloads them?
Um, so typically, we have a Stu who's our designer, or we have agencies externally, and they send assets to us. We have done in the past like portals where people can upload content, agencies can upload content to. But yeah, so they'll create assets and upload them to Canto, and then I go in and make sure that they are put in the right folder, tagged correctly, and then when they've been signed off. So say we had the David Beckham assets, they also needed to go to David Beckham's team for him to approve, and then I would make sure that once that feedback came back and they were approved, that they were then approved and can be accessed by either the press or consumers in the office. Does
Okay.
that answer the question?
Yeah, it definitely does. And so, yeah, what are these assets being used for? Like, are they mainly website? I mean, I know a lot of campaign stuff is what they're used for, but well, yeah, what else are they used for?
So basically we're um, like a factory of assets of digital, like things that will be used on your social channels, and that's not just our social channels. They're like the malaria communities, like social channels. So we need to be able to share those assets really quickly with a click of a button. So so that's why that's how they're being used. Who's using them?
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then why or what are the reasons that you chose Canto as your dam provider?
I'm trying to think back now to when we were going. We did a lot. It was a lot of research um, into different dams, but for me, this seemed to offer so much for the price. It seemed to have, it had smart tagging, it had face recognition, um, and um, and the amount of space that we got for our money as well seemed to be really good value. Um, when I compared it to all these other assets, like there were some like super, like really nice other dams that we could have gone for, but they were super expensive and out of our price range, I think.
Mm,
And they didn't seem to offer that much more that Canto didn't. So yeah.
okay. Great, yeah. And then my last question, can you show us your favorite feature?
Oh, I what was my favorite feature? Um, I quite like the this captions. You get like auto transcribing stuff. That's been super helpful because we've been uploading videos and interviews, and like some of the interviews are like 40 minutes long, and
Oh
that's been
gosh.
really helpful for us to then edit down and yeah, and send over to the video editors, as
Yeah.
well as adding like subtitles. That's like an unexpected bonus um, from this assets management system. And then I think it's just been able to find stuff so quickly, and other people being able to find stuff. It's just intuitive, and I think the most used function is obviously like sharing with a password. I think that it was only last week I was showing a member of the team like actually how to use Canto, and and as each step that I showed her through, she was like, "Oh my god, oh you've just changed everything." So yeah, it was good, refreshing to
Yeah.
see.
That's awesome. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that was my last question. And so thank you so much for showing all of that.
Mhm.
So now we'll move on to our other questions here from the audience.
Okay.
One is pretty simple. How many assets do you have stored in Canto?
We have about 2,500 assets stored at the moment. We should have more. I basically we got thick into a campaign, and I haven't been able to upload all of our historic assets. I'm trying to limit what assets we upload, because I don't want us uploading like old looking imagery. I want it to be new and fresh.
Mm,
So yeah, but yeah, 2,500 assets.
great. And then, okay, I think this might be because you mentioned it just briefly, but how or do you use the facial recognition feature?
Um, well, I know it exists, and I want to use it more. So yeah, we click on an image here. So this is David, and then as you can see David, but I haven't actually labeled that image as David Beckham, so it's probably not that useful. But yeah, it does work, as you can see.
Yeah, brought up all of his
I
pictures.
haven't used it that I think it's a really nice feature to have, but I haven't used it yet. I think it'll be really useful. Maybe not so much for David because he's really recognizable, but but there are like champions, malaria champions that we want, that will be really easy, really nice way to find all the images really quickly. So yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay, and then I think we have time for just one more. How did you figure out which tags and keywords you would use?
So keywords, I wanted to keep. You know, Canto provided some really good training at the beginning, and one of the you know key things they mentioned was like with keywords, like keep it minimal, don't have too many. So I've tried that as best as I can, and then so that is based on our internal work streams, which probably won't mean very much to you guys. Um, and then tags, just go as infinite as you can, with the detail of what's in the photo or the video.
Great. Yeah, sounds like a good strategy.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you so much, Mike. And thank you, everyone, for your questions. And if you do have additional questions about Canto, there will be a link to schedule some time with a product specialist in the email with the webinar recording. So, Mike, thank you again so much for showing us how you use Canto and for just walking us through your library here. I really appreciate it. And I think that everyone with us did as well. And
Okay.
thank you all for joining us today. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.